What's going on, guys and gals? Dan the Man coming at you from the 60s Rule channel. And before we get going over here, I just want to put out a little disclaimer. Yeah, I know, a disclaimer. Here we go. Well, first of all, I am not a professional airbrush artist, nor am I a chemist, okay? So I'm just a hobby enthusiast having fun, okay? So, okay, we got that out of the way. Now, a couple of you have asked me how do I mix up my craft acrylic thinner, right? And well, I guess I got this formula on YouTube from a guy called Detroit Muscle, but he's no longer on YouTube. But he did change his name, and I wish I would have wrote it down for his new channel. But maybe he's watching. He'll see this video and he'll comment on it. But that's where I got it from, and he got it from a guy who got it from a guy who got it from another, and you know the story, right? So first of all, why am I shooting craft acrylic paints? Okay, well, a couple of reasons. First of all, craft acrylic paint is cheap, okay? You can get a bottle like this over here for $1, all right, as opposed to, you know, some of these other products over here like to me. And don't get me wrong, these are good products, you know. But, 2 ounces as opposed to 3/4 ounce, you know, and these are like getting expensive now, like $3.80, okay? Another reason is I had nowhere to vent out the fumes, you know, such as, lacquers and enamels. And when I was living in an apartment in Long Island, we lived in a 2-family house, and the little room that I had was actually, my landlord built it for his father. He was a photographer in New York City, and that was actually his dark room where he developed the photos. Small room, you know, it was 8 feet by 6 feet, had no window, nowhere to vent anything out. The only luxury of that was to had a sink in it. So that was a plus, right? But I had to learn how to spray acrylics. So I started following some guys on YouTube, the late, great Chris Cortell, one of them. Also, the late, great Chris Chapman. They were using acrylics, you know, and very successful, I might add, you know. And they had different methods of adding their thinners, you know. And these 2 other guys I want to point out here, I just want to give them a shout out because these guys use their acrylic paints exclusively. Grandpa Mark's Hobbies, this guy over here, man, you got to check him out. He'll show you how to mix the paint and, you know, how he does his thinners and how he cleans his airbrush out. He's got a couple of tutorials on that, so I highly recommend going to him. And this guy here, Stumpy Grump's Scale Speed Shop. This guy is an acrylic craft paint guru, man. He uses it exclusively, mainly for the same reason I did, because he couldn't vent out any fumes out of his paint booth, so he uses craft acrylic, and he's very good. Definitely go check him out, man. All right, now let's talk about these products I have over here. This is what I use to make up my thinner. All right, we have actually 4 main components over here, okay? The first thing you need over here, you need distilled water. That's going to be your carrier. We got Liquitex over here. This is matte medium, okay? This is going to be your binder, okay? And then we have some alcohol. I don't think it matters whether it's 70, 90. It works just fine, okay? And then we need a flow improver, okay? Now, there's a couple of items you can use here, a couple of products, right? I just happen to use this because this acts like a leveling agent. And then also you can, if you don't have this, you can actually use that, what is it called, Mop and Shine. I seen Barbados Rex use it, and he said it's a good replacement for the Pledge because this is hard to find now. I seen some guys asking like 30, 40 bucks for this. That's ridiculous. So if you can't find this, you know, you can use Mop and Shine. That's fine. Or you can use this. This is actual flow improver, Winsor & Newton, okay? So you would add, if you want to make up a batch of this, see like I got over here, okay? You would add 10% of this to water. It tells you on the back here the directions. And this stuff works pretty well, you know. I haven't used it for my thinner, but I usually add this to my paint cup if I'm having trouble with like dry tip or something. But this stuff works very, very well. And what it does, it slows down the drying time, and that's what you want. Okay, that's what I use anyway, you know. And increases leveling and also increases flow. You know, that's what it's for, hence the name Flow Improver, okay? So you can use that as well, but we're going to use these 4 components over here, okay? Now, I'm not gonna show you how I mix this, okay, like I did in my last video, because then I think we'll be here all night. So I'm gonna show you what proportions to use. This is the formula right over here, guys, all right? You got, depending on the container you're using, see, I'm using this container over here. This happens to be an old alcohol bottle here, and it happens to be 32 ounces, okay? Now, it doesn't matter what size you're using. If you're using 32 ounce, 16 ounce, the main thing is this. This is what you got to concentrate on right here, okay? This is the important proportions right here. So it's 40% of water, distilled water, 40% matte medium, that Liquitex, 10% alcohol, 10% of whatever flow improver you're using. I just happen to be using the Pledge over there, okay? That gives you out that 100% there. Like I said, if you're using a smaller bottle, then you would, you know, you got to use your own judgment, okay? So you would just cut this, like if you're using a 16-ounce bottle, then that would be 12, that would be 6, 6, 2, and 2. That'll give you, you know, your 16 ounce. But like I said, I don't know what size bottle you're using, but this is the important part right here, okay? Now, as far as mixing this stuff up, you would add the water first, okay? Then, I don't know, I should have taken note of this, but I think it was the alcohol next, right? But I know one thing, okay, it's very important. When you add this Liquitex next, you pour this in very slowly, okay? Little bits at a time, okay? So you're going to be doing like, you know, 40% of the matte medium, all right? Pour it in very slowly, little bits at a time, because if you pour this all at once, it's going to like gel up and it's going to clump up. So you just pour a little bit in at a time, slowly stir it in, and until you get all the, you know, ingredients that you need inside that, you know, formula you're making, okay? And then once it's all blended up, and I'll add this last, okay? This is about, you know, 10%. Or like I said, whatever flow improver you happen to have, you know, or have access to, okay? And once that's all mixed up, it's going to look like this right here. I have a bottle of that. This is all I have left. So once I'm done with this, and it's going to have like a milky consistency, but you can see how fluid it is. And another thing, before you mix up, right, this thinner with the craft paint, some of the heavier components are going to want to sit on the bottom. So you want to give this, you know, a really, really good shake, okay, before you use it, all right? Just let it settle down a little bit, and then you can mix up your craft paint, okay? Now, I've seen other guys mix just alcohol and water. They use it for thinner. I've seen guys use everything from windshield wiper fluid to Windex to everything except the kitchen sink they throw in this craft paint. But, I mean, you know, you can just add water to this. But the thing is, if you add water to this, you're breaking down the binder, okay? Yeah, it'll flow through your airbrush, but, you know, you need something to bind the pigments together. That's why I like using this acrylic medium over here. But like I said, if you have a method that's working, that's fine. You know, add something to this conversation. You know, let me know in the comments section. You know, if you have a method other than the one I'm using, I want to hear from you. Because that's what we do, you know, we share ideas and techniques. You know, that's what's great about this community, you know. We learn something new all the time. See, I'm an old dog, but I can learn new tricks. So, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to pause the video, okay? We're going to mix this acrylic thinner with our craft paint. We're going to use this True Red, okay? And we'll see how that works out, all right? So, I'm going to pause it here, and we'll be right back. All right, guys and gals. Okay, we're back at the bench over here. We got everything set up over here. But before we get going, I just want to point this out to you. I know a lot of guys and gals out there like to use Mr. Color Leveling Thinner. It works great for any like solvent-based paints, but I'm going to tell you right now, whatever you do, do not, and I repeat, do not mix this with craft acrylic paint, because what's going to happen, it's going to turn into molasses, and you're going to end up spending the whole afternoon cleaning your airbrush out. And ask me how I know that. That's right. All right. So it works great on other products, but do not mix this with this. Okay. It's a no-no. All right. Just so you know. Okay. All right, guys. What we're going to do, I got these little bottles over here. These are 1 ounce bottles. Oh, you can get these on Amazon. These are great because, you know, easy screw on cap, and there's a little opening spigot over here on the end, and actually they pop right off because they're easy to clean. And one tip for you, make sure when you're done using this bottle, after you're done pouring your paint into your cup, all right, before you put it back on a shelf, make sure you take it apart and just rinse it off, get all that crap out. Otherwise it's going to end up like this. You see, I used this the other day. What's going to happen, you're going to have all different, you're going to have paint particles in there like that, and you don't want it in your airbrush. So when I'm done with this video, I'm going to clean that out. So when you're done using it, right, clean them out. You get these, you get like 25 of these in a bag. These are awesome. They're 1 ounce bottles, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to make approximately 1 ounce. Now, as far as ratios are concerned, the best rule of thumb, guys, whenever you're mixing paint, I don't know what kind of airbrush you're using, whether it's a gravity feed, siphon feed, I would always start 50-50, and then you can always add, more thinner, more paint later on. But always start with 50-50, see how it sprays, and if you have to tweak the formula a little bit, then, you can always do that, So let's just make a 1/2 ounce. We're going to pour 1/2 ounce of paint. We'll do a 1/2 ounce of the thinner, okay? So let's shake this up a little bit here. We'll see if we got enough in here to... all right, we'll make a 1/2 ounce. Let's keep going. I think we'll have enough for a 1/2 ounce. Yeah, it looks pretty good. We're just going to get it in the ballpark. Like I said, this is not an exact science, guys, just about a 1/2 ounce there, okay? Then make sure you, like I said, make sure you shake this up good. I already shook it up before, so, because we don't want the heavy, materials on the bottom, so you want to make sure it's, okay, all mixed up. So we're just going to keep pouring this until we hit the 1 ounce increment on this glass here. I don't know where I got this glass. I think on Amazon or eBay, but you can pick these up anywhere. So whatever you have available, that's pretty good right there. All right, and let me get a little piece of towel here. Whoops. Oh, I dropped that. Always wipe off the top, guys. Important, okay? Always keep your nozzles and your tips clean, all right? Because you don't want stuff accumulating on there. Okay, well, we got a handy-dandy mixer here. You can pick these up anywhere. I think this is a Badger, You can get a cocktail stirrer. That's what they call it. I think you can get it on Amazon. So we're going to slowly mix this up. Okay, hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to work around the camera, guys. There we go. Keep stirring it, Try to keep the stirring portion all the way on the bottom, because you don't want to inject air into this paint over here. So, so just work your way all around the edges, okay, until everything is completely blended, okay. This might take a minute or so, but, you get the idea, right? If you don't have one of these, just get a stirring stick, keep working it until it's all blended in, right? So one thing I like to do is pick this up, and I'm going to check the viscosity. So, see the way that's dripping off? You don't have a continuous line. That's what you want. If you got a continuous line, that means too heavy. You can also dip it on the side of the glass there too, and see how it's see how that's flowing down, and that looks pretty good right there. You got to use your own judgment, guys. Like I said, always start out with 50-50. All right. So we're just gonna tap this over here like that. Hopefully I'm in frame over here. Then, before I pour this in here, I got this little funnel with a screen in it. That'll catch out any debris, because some of these paints, you know, them, I might have them sitting on my shelf for about 4 or 5 years. So you don't want any debris going into your paintbrush, because, you know, by the time you find out, you know, all of a sudden, you know, there's no paint coming out of your airbrush, and you're like, oh man, what happened? You know, by then it's too late, you know. So screen out. You can buy, I think they sell these little screens that you can put in right on top of your airbrush cup. But yeah, there's all different types of screens. But this thing works out pretty good, you know. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this guy here, and we're just going to pour this right in there. Hopefully it'll flow right in. Can you guys see that? It's flowing pretty good right through that screen. Now look at this. Let me show you this. Can you guys see all that junk that's in there? See those little bits of hard paint in there? Yeah, see that? We kept that from going into the brush. So that's why I always screen it. All right. All right, we'll put this there. We'll get that cleaned up. And there's our paint all mixed up, ready to go. Like I said, test it first. You know what I would do if I were you guys? Get some like poster board, you know, at the dollar store, and you can just spray it on your poster board, you know, and just to see how it's flowing. If you have to add more thinner, fine. If you have to add more paint, fine, you know. And the airbrush that we're going to be using over here, I got this Gallery GHAD 60. A lot of guys using this. I absolutely love this brush. Comes with a 0.35 and a 0.5. So what we're going to do, I'm going to find a test body somewhere, and we're going to pour this paint in this brush, and then we're going to go over to the paint booth, and we're going to test it out and see how it works. All right? All right, guys and gals. I'll meet you over there at the paint booth. See you in a bit. All right, guys and gals, we're at the paint booth over here, and we're going to test out our craft acrylic paint mixture up over here. And you can see I got a little test body over here, and this thing's seen better days. But yeah, usually if this is a model that I really cared about, I would, you know, wet sand this down with 2000 grit and thoroughly wash and rinse it off and make sure it's completely dry before I prime it. But like I said, it's only for demonstrative purposes. We'll see how this paint lays down. And also I got some spoons over here too, which I primed up. We have white primer, black primer, and gray primer. All right, and then we also have a spoon that has no primer, just bare plastic. So we're going to try that as well. And the primer I like to use is Stellanarez over here, and this stuff is great. You lay it down, and you don't even have to sand this. I mean, you can see those spoons. It comes down nice and smooth, and then it's ready for paint. So let's, we got our airbrush all ready. We're on 25 PSI. We got the 0.5 needle in it. I'm going to turn the fan on, and hopefully you can hear me over the fan noise. And it's a good idea to wear a mask too, you know. So let's take this, pour it in, and we'll see what we got. See how this stuff sprays out. It's spraying pretty good. All right. Let's try these spoons first. Here's a white primer. See what I'm doing, guys? Just a mist coat. I'm pulling halfway on the trigger. See, just a little mist coat. Try it on the black. You can barely see that, but Every once in a while you might want to wipe off the tip. Try it over the gray. Alright. See what happens over bare plastic. You know, it's going to take about 3 or 4 mist coats because you want to take your time and build up the color, you know. That's going to actually act like a primer, you know. Let's take our test body over here. Guys, this is a slow process, man. You're not going to paint this in 5 minutes. Alright, we'll get back to that later on. We'll take our spoon. See that, guys? We're building up color. Little by little, we're building up color. Here's the one with bare plastic. See, slowly but surely we're building up color. I would give this about maybe 3 or 4 mist coats and then hit it really a wet coat. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to pause it over here, and then I'll continue on with this. And once we're all done, we'll see what we came up with. All right, guys and gals, we're back at the bench over here, and we finished our painting session over here. And actually, I made a few mistakes during the painting of this test body over here. And I'm glad I did, because I want to show you what to do and what not to do. Okay, first thing I did, well, this body wasn't prepped up. Remember I said always prep your bodies up, okay? make sure, you know, you wet sand it, you know, wash it, dry it, make sure it's nice and clean, you know, that's the first thing. But this was only for a test, you know, body over here. So we'll get to that later on. But also, I was mixing up those ratios, right? I said 50-50. Well, as I was spraying this body, right, I noticed I wasn't getting enough paint to lay down. It was kind of a little heavy, you know. And so what I did, I added a little more thinner. So I went like 60-40, 60% thinner and 40% paint, and it sprayed a whole hell of a lot better, okay? But being that I already gave it a couple mist coats, you know, it was kind of heavy. The finished product is really not that great. Like I said, this was not primed or prepped or nothing. We're just using it for demonstrative purposes. So like I said, make sure your bodies are prepped, okay? Now let's get to the spoons over here. This was the no primer, just bare plastic, and came out pretty nice, you know? Got a nice smooth finish on there. All right, now here's with the white primer, okay? And I don't see much difference in color there. That's bare plastic, that's white primer. So got about the same tone on there. And this is the gray primer, okay? You can see it's a little darker, all right? And here's the black primer, and it's darker yet. So you can see the difference right over here between white, gray, and black. See, primer makes a big difference, guys, all right? Now, if you wanted a deeper, richer color, you could probably give this, you know, another coat of paint, and, you know, it'd come out a little deeper. But like I said, this is only for demonstrative purposes, to see how the paint flows, and, you know, just to show you guys how I mix my craft acrylics up, you know, so. And, well, let's see, what's the conclusion here? Well, craft acrylic paint, it's inexpensive, cost-effective, water cleanup, you know, and doesn't have any fumes, all right? Downside is it's not as durable as, you know, enamels or lacquers, and it takes a little bit of tweaking with your thinners, you know, to get it to spray, you know. But once you get, like, everything dialed in, and, you know, you just, like I said, practice with it, you know, and, you know, eventually, you know, I think you'll find this, it works out really well, you know, and, yeah. And I might be getting into some other paints, you know, like enamels and lacquers. I also bought this, I see a lot of guys shooting, you know, nail polish, and they're using lacquer thinner, so maybe I'll get into that, you know. And because, you know, I got my paint booth with the exhaust fan in there, so that works out good. So, all right, guys and gals, I think that's about it. And I like I said previously, this is not a how-to video. This is how I do it video. And if you guys and gals want to add anything to the conversation, if you have techniques, you know, that you've been using, and, you know, why don't you share them with the community, man? Because, you know, we always want to learn, you know. We share our tips and techniques with each other, you know. And like I said, I'm not here to say this is the way you do it. This is just a video on how I do it. You know, like I said, I'm not a professional airbrush artist. I am not a chemist. I just know this method works for me. If you want to try it, that's great. If you have methods that work for you, by all means, you know, keep using those methods, you know. And I know I'm going to be getting a lot of questions after this video, you know, so that's fine. You know, let me know in the comments section what you guys think. So, all right, guys and gals, I think that's about it. I know this video is long, but, you know, I hope someone learned something. You know, I had fun making it for you guys, you know. And remember, ain't nothing to it but to do it. You guys take care, be safe, and keep on building.